All right. Hi, welcome back to the Morning Minute, brought to you by Road ID. I'm Neil Rogers here with Andy Hood at the start of Stage 13. We're standing right in front of Andy Schleck Specialized. He's got a special paint job. Andy, that bike yesterday wasn't, and rider weren't quite able to keep up with Alberto Contador on the climb into Mond, is the pronunciation. Momentum shift, I mean, how important? 10 seconds is one thing, but the psychological advantage that Contador took, how important was that yesterday?
I think it was very important to Contador. He's been kind of on the ropes really in this tour ever since the opening prologue. He lost a little time in the cobblestones to Schleck. He got kind of dropped at Avoriaz. Even the Madeleine, Schleck was attacking him. Contador could answer. But yesterday, Contador was the first time he could kind of gap Schleck. But at the same time, you can't read too much into that. It was a short climb. The climb is one of Contador's favorites. He's won there twice. And Schleck says that's just not my kind of climb. It's very explosive. But it kind of takes that 10 seconds back that Contador gave away on the Avoriaz, so they're kind of even on that score. But it kind of gives a little boost to Contador going into the Pyrenees this weekend.
Yeah, it was interesting because after the stage, Schleck seemed pretty relaxed about it. I mean, he almost had kind of resigned himself. Okay, Contador's going to attack. He's won this stage in Pyrenees. It's a good climb for him. And you could see from his reaction that it wasn't a fight. It was, okay, I'm just going to reel him in slowly. And totally different than how it's going to be in the Pyrenees with these long climbs. Tomorrow is the first real mountain stage in the Pyrenees. Today, stage 13, a bit of a kind of one of those transition stages. It's almost got breakaway written all over it, really, don't you think?
Yeah, this is the same stage that Salvadelli won here in 2005 in a breakaway over a Cat 3 climb, quite steep and technical downhill. So I think we'll see either breakaway stay away all the stage, or have some guys attacking out of the main group once the breakaway is reeled in the final 20-25 Ks.
We talked about this at dinner last night. I mean, there's been all this talk about Radio Shack now looking for stage wins. Is today a day for Armstrong getting the break, and is it realistic for Armstrong to try to win a stage out of a breakaway?
I think Armstrong will probably wait and try something in the Pyrenees. I mean, if he's going to win a stage, he wants to win it in a big melodramatic moment in the Pyrenees. Today is a stage where it's a pure stage hunter, maybe a guy, like a Jens Voigt or someone like that. This is not really a day for Armstrong, I don't think.
Yeah, and the way that Armstrong's been climbing, you have to wonder if he actually has it in the legs to win a stage in the Pyrenees. Well, time will tell. Check back tomorrow for another Morning Minute brought to you by Road ID.
Perfect.
Chilled it twice today. How's the hamstring?
Yeah, held up yesterday, still sore, but it's there.
I was thinking that was probably like the worst course for what you were talking about.
Actually, it was the best course because we were going so hard the whole time that it's not a problem.
Because it wasn't punchy?
It's the opposite. It's when it's punchy. Like when we went down the one or two descents that we had, that's when it would start to pull on me, because you stop pedaling and then you come out of the corners and you hit hard. So you go from it not being contracted to contracting at maximum. And that's what pulls it.
Say that again on camera. It's perfect. You ready? All right, well, welcome back to another installment of the Chris Horner Video Diaries from the Tour de France. We are here at the start of Stage 13. Chris, I want to talk to you a little bit about yesterday's stage. Obviously, we saw Contador attack and take 10 seconds out of Andy Schleck. I want to hear about your hamstring that we were talking about yesterday as well. But the question that came to my mind actually watching that stage, and I'd love to get your perspective on it, is that I saw three Cervelo riders at the front kind of coming. It looked like aiding the chase with Saxo Bank, and it got me to thinking just a little bit. I mean, everybody knows inside the peloton favors are exchanged,
Right, yep.
And it got me wondering if maybe Cervelo was riding to help Saxo, and if you've seen any of that, if you've seen any Astana getting help. I've heard that maybe Castapan or maybe Euskaltel, maybe Contador's assembled a little bit of a Spanish mafia, and I just want to know from inside the peloton what you've seen.
Well, maybe at the finish there, they might have made a little mafia together with Joaquin Rodriguez, because to me it didn't make a whole lot of sense why you chase your own teammate down who had the stage win, especially just for 10 seconds. Might have been better to even give the stage win away to someone that was in the break, just so that you could give some time away too, and not actually for Saxo Bank not to have to control it. But yesterday, I saw Cervelo at the front of the finish too. Nothing there makes any sense to me. Certainly when Lamprey was pulling a lot, that made a lot of sense because you had Thor up the road. They didn't want him to he was already getting the bonuses the midway sprint bonuses, but you didn't want him to get bonuses at the finish of the stage, because in that group of 18, I bet he can outclimb 10, maybe even 15 of them if he really had to on just a 3K climb. So they needed to chase him down just to make sure he didn't get any added points, and that's why they were helping. But Cervello at the end, nothing there makes a whole lot of sense for sure what would have been going on there.
Well, beyond the finish of yesterday's stage, just what you've seen in general, have there been any things? I mean, the other day we saw Rodriguez from Castapan hand Contador a water bottle when he went by. Things that make you go, and just wonder.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. It's not a big deal. It's like two companies working together to benefit themselves. As long as everybody's benefiting themselves and going for the win, then I see it as fair game, and that's the main objective. You just got to be going for the win. So if Contador gave Joaquin Rodriguez the win yesterday, I don't know if he did or he didn't, but we're talking about it as if he did. If he did give him the win, then maybe later he has some help in the mountains from Joaquin Rodriguez helping him if he falls into any kind of trouble. And certainly taking the stage win away from Vino means you might have one less teammate to help you in the mountains too. So that was an interesting tactic all the way around. It didn't quite make a whole lot of sense when I read about it and what I'd seen.
Did you watch the replay of the final kilometers?
No, I didn't catch the replay. I heard the story from the team and the directors and all that stuff, who of course caught it on TV, but I was a little busy just icing the hamstring and taking care of myself. So
from the outside, I want to ask you about that, because from the outside, if you take things on face value, it looked like Contador more or less went through Vinokurov, and if Vinokurov had been able to go with, I mean, he could win this.
He's the fastest sprinter.
Sure, and I'm sure that Contador would have been fine with that, but he was looking to put time into Schleck. Is there more to be read between the lines than that? I mean, is that something that Vinokurov has a right to be upset about if he can't latch on to Contador, even though Contador is fighting for GC?
I think 10 seconds is not enough to pull your teammate back and lose the stage win for your team over a 10-second gain when you're a rider like Contador going against Andy Schleck. I mean, that and the time trial alone should be fairly easy for him to take back. I don't know. It's something you have to talk with Contador about. But to take away the stage win from your teammate who was working for you before in earlier stages is certainly the stage, the mountaintop finish where Lance had crashed early in the stage. Vino was riding that descent like crazy for Contador once he heard Lance wasn't there. So he's been a team player. And he's been an independent player a lot too. I've seen both. But yeah, you have a guaranteed stage win and you take it away from your teammates. So that's a little harsh.
Yeah, you couldn't help but think that, okay, Astano's got the yellow jersey in mind, but when you have 2 or 3 guys in the last K and a half and you don't walk away with the stage win, something's wrong there. Well, as we were driving the course yesterday, I was remembering you talking about your hamstring and saying specifically that it was the punches, the hard accelerations that hurt. And I was thinking that it was probably yesterday's course was the worst imaginable course because it was up and down all day. There was no flat sections at all. There were 4 or 5 categorized climbs. It just seemed like you were constantly not just on the gas, but no rhythm. Right. Tell me about how the hamstring made it through the day.
Well, the day was so hard, it was actually good for the hamstring. There's only 2 or 3 longer descents that were twisty where you actually rest the leg in the legs so you have no power going in the legs, you're coasting. And then you come out of the corner. When you come out of the corner, that's what causes the hamstring to want to tear or pull or cramp, is the explosiveness that you put to the pedal. So as when I come out of the corners, I have to come out of the corners a little slower, let the gap open, and then just slowly close the gap instead of actually being able to accelerate with the group. And then sometimes when you come out of the corners and the acceleration is so strong, then I just come out a little bit easier and I just put my hand back and give the guy behind me a hand sling up to close the gap, and then I'll sit up and then lose 30, 40 spots or something and then jump back onto the back when it's slowed down a little bit. But when it's going really hard, when I'm riding really hard the whole time, it's not a problem because then the muscles always contract and there's probably better blood flow, better everything. But as long as the muscles always contract, it's not a problem. It's just when it's off and then you turn it on.
And what about when you woke up this morning? And better, worse, the same?
Yeah, I think it's better. I think yesterday in general was better. So hopefully it continues to go that way. Certainly Alan Lim's been looking after me with a lot of ice in it every time we get some free time. So it seems to help. And I know in the past when I've had this issue, it's always done the job.
Well, I don't want to talk too much about today's stage. I think everybody knows it's a transition stage. It's a day for the breakaways. Tomorrow are the fireworks. Is that correct? Today's the day for the break. I mean, that's...
It could be not. I'm giving it 50-50 because you look at where certainly Thor could get over that climb, but I don't know if his team would want to ride all day on the stage. It's going to be this hard to ride on the front. It's not going to be that hard to stay in the group and finish, but it'd be a hard day with all the rolling hills and stuff to really be on the front all day. But it's going to have to be a bigger break, and then nobody will ride. And if it's a smaller break, then I think if it's 3 or 4 guys, I think someone will ride to try to win the stage. But if it's a bigger break, and nobody's going to want to ride that much on a stage like today.
Yeah, and that's interesting because the size of the break is largely dictated by how tired guys are, and that's going to lead me to my final question. I actually solicited on Twitter, hey, I'm doing these daily video diaries with Chris Horner, send in some questions. You can find me on Twitter. You can find Chris on Horner. You can send them to Chris as well. We'll discuss. But as far as guys being tired and the size of the break, one of the questions that I got was, how does this year's tour compare to tours of years past in terms of the course?
It's a good question. First off, I think the main difference, first off, in the tour, it's always hard. It's a 3 weeks of racing. It's going to be incredibly difficult. But this year, they've taken out the time trial that usually comes in the first week, and that's a big rest day for a lot of guys. A lot of time to recover from injuries. If after 4 days of racing, if you've crashed, your elbow's sore, your knees are sore, your hips sore, you got tendonitis in your Achilles heel or something, that's a good day where you got more hours to recover. So they've taken that out and they've added longer stages. Each of the days we've been racing have been 200 plus kilometer stages, so 125 miles plus almost every day we've been racing. And now they've actually, normally you do 9 days of racing, a rest day, 6 days of racing, a rest day, but now you're doing 9 days of racing, a rest day, and then what would normally be a rest day on the following Monday, now we have to wait until Wednesday, so they've added 2 more days in there for us to do too. So it's a much harder tour this particular year.
We were just talking about that yesterday, how it's unusual that the rest day comes on Wednesday, because coming out of the rest day, there's only 4 days of racing, and really the Champs-Élysées stage is somewhat of a parade. So really,
it's over. It's almost. I mean, literally, we come out of the last rest day, and it's literally almost over for 95% of us. I mean, of course, we have a hard day right after the rest day, but then it's going to be a flat stage. It's the last day for the sprinters to do anything, so the sprinter teams will control it. The next day is a TT. I'll have to ride it. Maybe hard, maybe not, depending on the team classification, where we stand there. If we have some free minutes or something, I'll probably have to do something in the time trial, but I won't have to kill myself. And then the last day is usually so parade coming into the Champs-Élysées, and then of course we're full gas on the Champs-Élysées, but it's over. Right,
yeah. Well, I need to let you go, but there are 2 things that I thought of. The lack of that early TT. Not only did the riders not get the rest day, but that time trial often sets the general classification in a way that the race can be a little more controlled, because there's one team with a clear ambition with the jersey to defend. And this year, you've had Saxo and Contador right there, but it's still pretty open, and that makes for a little bit less controlled racing. And then obviously the organizers can't be faulted for this, but the heat is another factor. I mean, beyond the course, the heat has been remarkable. We finally got some cloud cover today, and I think everybody's really happy about that. Well, send in your questions to Chris. Chris, thanks for all the time, as always. Glad to hear the hamstring's feeling better, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks. See you then.
That was an extended version today.
It happens.
Visto che avrà qualche difficoltà in più rispetto a chi dice che questo duro che fa così, però l'importante è fare queste tappe con una condizione buona e soprattutto non avere una crisi e per alla riga nel tempo massimo, sicuramente ci sarà questa tappa più difficile, sia quella che si parte sul per il sud.
Well, I was talking about this day, about 2 days ago. Was a stage that suited me and suited, I think, many other guys. But yeah, the sprinters team, they still want, even if they won some stages, they still want to keep on winning. But riders like me, like Chabanel, like Federico, we have to try these days, and let's say we cannot make the sprinter sticks make it so easy to make it to the bunch sprint at the end with the winner. I mean, the stage ended with an Ataka winner, and well, I think talking about chances for rider like us, still one left, and let's see how the legs feels next week, how we pass the Pyrenees, and I would like to try again. I would not like to end the Tour de France without trying again.
Okay.
That you're in a breakaway, just focus on what you're doing at that moment. If you start thinking of you can win or you cannot, or you're going to be caught or not, the chase, that's not going to help you. So at all the moment, the only thing I was able to control was to keep on fighting. All three of us we did.
Very, very happy back in the tour, and especially too much work yesterday in the breakaway and not winning the stage near Alberta and me. For me, today is great day for my family, and I think Kazakhstan people is very, very happy.
Alexander, you obviously never had any doubt about your ability to come back to the highest level of the sport.
It was bad. 2 years it's a work for me, for my family also. I would say, like I said, just 5 minutes ago, it's a new winner. I come in the Liège, I won the Liège. Some people say no, it's really worry, but we don't.
It's okay.
Okay, it's for me.
Good luck for tomorrow. You know, I put my foot here all the time.
Yeah?
After the feet, since I'm like kangaroo, you know.
Andy, the Tour de France is 2 weeks old, but perhaps it all starts tomorrow.
Yeah, you can say that, you know. I haven't planned, you know, to have yellow yet, but you know, I had a great, I don't know how many days, 5 days? 5 days in yellow, so that's pretty cool, you know. And but now, you know, tomorrow, if I still have it tomorrow the tour starts for me, to be honest, you know. Of course, you know, Madeleine was, you know, a selection, but you know, a little selection was made, so I think the battle is between me and Alberto, and you know, we'll continue.
Andy, as individuals, yes, the battle is between you and Alberto, but the team, your team, has had the yellow jersey now for 11 days out of the 13. You've worked very, very hard. You're confident they can support you all the way through the Pyrenees?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, that's a really good thing. You know, there have been only one day where there was no Saxo Bank rider on the podium here. That's been a day in Spa, and we know we had 8 of our 9 guys who crashed that day. But for the rest, you know, we've been every day on the podium. But you know, every team would like to have the yellow jersey, and we've seen again today. You know, the riders worked pretty good for me, and but tomorrow, you know, there's different riders work for me. Tomorrow, you know, I'm gonna count on Chris Anke and you know, Jakob Fuglsang, who are here, you know, to help me to the next 3-4 days. And so far, it's been Fabian, Stuart, Jens, Nicky, who did a lot, and Matty, of course, and you know, now it's up to the others who climb us to make that job.
Good luck, mate.